Hey everybody, just wanted to make a quick video before this week's episode since Kevin had to go out of town for work, so we had to pre-record it before a little incident went down on Monday the 8th when the FBI raided Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. And it kind of goes in with this episode with the government and how they're acting like stupid dumbasses and screwing over the country. And Monday's incident kind of was the final nail in the coffin as far as us being a banana republic. And right now, the DOJ and FBI is just one giant joke. But um, in case you haven't heard about it, which I think is impossible, supposedly they were raided Mar-a-Lago because Trump had 15 boxes of potentially classified information that the archives people needed. So the FBI had to raid Mar-a-Lago to get all his stuff back. Well, here's the thing. Trump didn't pack up 15 boxes of shit and take it to Mar-a-Lago with him. White House staffers or government employees packed all that stuff up, shipped it to Mar-a-Lago, and then the archives people, presidential archive people, have been in contact with Trump's lawyers saying the major concern was the security of those boxes. So previously to Monday's raid, the FBI had already gone to Mar-a-Lago, inspected all the boxes, and then basically made the room they were stored in more secure by putting a lock on it. So this whole excuse on, well, they did it because of this and these boxes and they're supposed to be, it's all bullshit. I don't know why they did it. Other than January 6th committee is a joke. It's falling apart. Nobody believes it unless you're one of the dumbest ass people on the planet. And so it probably has something to do with them trying to keep Trump from running again. But I mean, the FBI raided Trump's house, had to cut their own lock off the door that they put on after previously checking over the boxes because they lost the key, and then just took all kinds of stuff, didn't check anything, broke into a safe, and left. So Monday was a sad day for the country. If you are cheering this on, you're an idiot. What goes around comes around. Hopefully the Republicans do get to the bottom of this stuff and do some cleaning of the house with our government, because these bureaucrats that have been in power for decades need to go. That's the swamp. That's the deep state shit that people talk about. It's a real problem and it needs to be solved. But yeah, that this stuff shouldn't be happening in this country. This is a joke. That is something that's going to go down in history as a sad day for America. But I just wanted to touch base on that just to make sure we got it covered. Hopefully, everything. Well, I know everything I've said is accurate. So if something comes up between now and then, we may release a short. But let's get on with the show at hand.
All right, you ready to get this going?
Let's get it going.
All right. And 3. Hold on. I should probably pee first. Well, I was like, oh no, I got a little tingle of peeing. I gotta do. Might as well do it now instead of shutting the episode down.
Hello, America. It's time to check the nonsense at the door, clear the cobwebs between your ears, and have a rational-ish conversation. This is the lost art of common sense.
That's right, America. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the lost art of common sense. Today, we will be talking about, we'll be airing out our grievances towards the government. Their corruption, their stupid ass bills, basically just bitching about the government. We don't really have a format for this one. We just figured we'd do this kind of off the cuff after the passing of the Inflation Reduction Act, which is basically a big old lie. It's not going to reduce inflation, but they're going to sell a bunch of morons on how it's going to. So that is the start of the episodes. We'll be talking about that. We'll be hitting some other topics. and basically telling you why the left sucks. And some of the right, but mostly the left. So, sorry. Been drinking a little beer already. So, sorry about that, people. We're God damn, we're classy. So the Inflation Reduction Act, Josh. Why do you think they named this the Inflation Reduction Act when all signs point to gas prices are probably going to rise because of it, and everything inflation rise basically goes off of gas prices because of shipping costs?
They named it the Inflation Reduction Act because that's how they sold it. Like, I forgot who I heard it from or where I heard it, but whatever they name a bill, it does the exact opposite. Affordable Care Act was anything but affordable care. Even if like these dumbasses that came up with this bullshit and voted for it think that it will reduce inflation, it won't. Because it's just more government spending. You cannot spend yourself out of a recession. You cannot spend yourself out of inflation. And here's the thing. So they come out with this Inflation Reduction Act, okay? But at the same time, they're like, Inflation Reduction Act. But then over here, they're like, but we're in a transition. Just listen to what's-her-face, who is hands down the dumbest, worst press secretary in the history of forever. But it's like, no, well, we're in the middle of a transition. That's why they're saying it's not a recession, because to them, this isn't a recession; it's a transformation. And sometimes during the cloud of transformation, things might happen that look exactly like a recession, but that's not what it is.
Well, transformation has the word trans in it, so it can look like one thing and it can look like something and be something else. Just but I mean, you're right. Anymore they're just renaming the shit and expecting people to believe it. And the sad part is probably, I don't know, 20% of the public does. They're redefining words. They redefined what a vaccine is. They redefined what recession is. They redefined, what a dude is or a woman. No one knows.
Well, they didn't redefine it. They just took the definition completely out.
Yeah, it's not even definable anymore what a woman or a man is. So we're in the age of words are, I don't know, have no meaning. They don't mean anything. So just because something looks like a duck, talks like a duck, it must be a coyote. Shit doesn't make sense. Like this, let's go. I'm going to go through a couple of the things that are in this bill. So, and tell me where somehow this bill is going to reduce the deficit by $700 billion and over the next 10 years. So, basically, I don't know how that's going to work. We're probably, if we spend more money than every year we've increased spending. So basically, I don't know how we're going to reduce spending. So that's the quandary number one I have. So we're going to spend, I think, $433 billion on this act. $369 billion of this is on energy and climate efforts. That's not really defined.
Never is.
So I don't know what that means. Maybe there's, I'm sure over the 600 million pages it might say something, but basically it's probably just going to go to companies that fund, Democrat legislators.
You can pretty much chalk up anything that has to do with green or energy, green energy, or any of that shit. That is nothing more than a way of laundering money.
So then there's over 300 billion in green loan guarantees. So basically, if I'm guessing that'll go to like car companies and stuff to go electric, stuff like that. I would guess.
Well, yeah, just anything like if you're going to build a new factory, are you going to use green energy for this or that or
Another nonsensical money spending thing is 60 billion for environmental justice initiatives. What is environmental justice?
nobody knows. It's
So,
just a bunch of bullshit.
so probably I don't know. Is it? I don't know what that is. 9 billion in tax credits for people who can actually afford to buy an electric car. So if you
If
are
they gave me a
rich,
tax credit that covered the entire cost of a Ford F-150 Lightning, I'd take it.
I'm guessing that it's probably. I mean, you're going to have the initial money, and they'll give you
No.
credit. They're not going to give you the credit before you buy the vehicle. Like you should be like, I'm interested in buying a vehicle. Here's a form you can send the United
That's
States
fine.
government.
But I should be able to go to Ford, get a Ford F-150 Lightning, Platinum, extended life battery, and not have to pay a dime for it.
Yes. Then hold on. 2.6 billion to conserve coastal habitats. So that basically means no offshore drilling. In most areas, probably. I would guess.
Yeah, that probably has something to do, kind of like how they pay farmers not to farm certain land.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing.
So,
It's like, well, don't lease out this or that, or we'll give you this money so you don't do it.
yeah. So I'm guessing that. So, basically between, I would guess, the energy and climate efforts and conserve coastal habitats, that would basically raise gas prices on its own.
What the hell does any of that have to do with inflation?
I don't know. 1.5 billion to plant trees, which I don't have a problem with. That's actually the only one that I have no problem with. I think if you cut down trees, you should replant.
Well, yeah, but I mean, logging companies do that. Like they learned way back.
I think this is for wildfire areas, but I'm basically usually wildfire areas.
See, that's bullshit, though. They should take that money instead of planting trees and use it for forest management and clearing out all the brush to prevent the damn forest fires to begin with.
Well, then they have nothing to bitch about because then they can't bitch about climate change because the forest is on fire. Come on, Josh. Learn how to be a politician, all right? Because you don't want to actually fix anything. You just need things to bitch about.
Well, that's true.
So you can get money. But I mean, and here's the big one I like. What was it? Oh, hold on. $80 billion to double the number of IRS agents.
Yeah, because because all you dumbasses out there that thought that your taxes weren't going to go up, they're hiring like 80 some odd thousand more IRS agents to do audits, and they're going to tax the shit out of everybody that's not low income.
These aren't corporate tax. These aren't corporate IRS agents. These are just doubling the amount of agents to do audits on America.
For the IRS that just spent like umpteen millions of dollars buying over 4,500 military style weapons and millions of rounds of ammunition. The IRS.
No, wasn't like 5 or 6 years ago. There's actual like talk about getting rid of the IRS.
Yeah. Well, that was Herman Cain and what's his face, who's the governor of Arkansas. His daughter was Trump's first not first, but he was probably arguably one of his best press secretaries.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What the heck's his name?
I don't know, but she's running for Senate somewhere.
Good. She's a good egg.
She was kicked out of a restaurant for being a press secretary for Donald Trump.
Yeah. That's the country we live in. We're the fascists, but the left is doing everything that fascists do.
Yes.
But no, his plan was to come up with a federal sales tax. That's what Herman Cain's plan was. And Huckabee, I think Huckabee had the same plan.
Yeah, Sarah Huckabee. That was the press secretary.
Yep. And basically, if you had a federal sales tax, there would be no need for IRS.
Yeah, it's absolutely
and
true.
I don't know why that's not a fucking good idea, because then...
Oh, it's a brilliant idea.
It doesn't.
Just do
now
a
they'll
flat
come
tax
up with
on
some
everything.
Yeah, they come up with some bullshit to where it's like, well, if you make
it was a flat tax, wasn't it? Like 7% on all goods.
It's a federal sales
services.
tax, federal service sales tax on everything.
Because they weren't probably going to make as much money.
No, they would have made shit ton more money, because everybody, other than the probably bullshit fucking card that they were issuing to people, well, this person's tax exempt because they don't want to get a real job and want to live off the government for the rest of life.
And that's probably what it was, because you can't sell.
But you got to think, drug dealers, criminals, illegals,
everybody would pay.
If you buy something, you pay federal tax. If you're rich, you're going to buy more expensive, more stuff. You're still going to be paying more in tax.
Flat tax is the way to go.
And then even if you're making less money, how much money are you saving by not having the stupid ass IRS?
You wouldn't think less money, because there would be no federal there would be no federal tax on your check. It would just be all taxed on goods and services.
And I'd be fine with that.
I would be too, because I'd be so be it. I'll go 7%. We went 100% like up in gas in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
that's why when people are 7%? Talking about, well, gas is down 30 cents. No, it's not. It's up $2.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're claiming shit like that, They're claiming that they're doing such a good job that the gas has dropped every day for 30 days, but it's still over $4 fucking.
Yeah, which is funny, because they say they can't affect the price of gas until they affect the price of gas. Which is all bullshit. It's going to come back in September.
They can't affect it until... they don't affect it until, it does good. Then they affect it. Then they did good. If you can't take the credit for being bad, then you can't take credit for being good. But morons keep falling for this shit all the goddamn time. Morons keep falling for the government, just fucking taking credit for either, I don't know, something they caused, like good, but not taking credit for things they do bad. And, most of the time it's blamed on the other party. Both sides, if something bad happens. No one wants to take responsibility in the government, and we keep forgetting all the bad shit because, I don't know, when it's time to elect somebody, when we re-elect rhinos, when people elect fucking Democrats.
I'm telling you one thing, I'm not, if and when we take back the House, I'm not looking forward to McCarthy being the Speaker of the House. That guy's a bitch.
Also, that guy's a piece of shit. Him, Crenshaw, there's a bunch of people in the house. Well, in the House that suck, and I don't know. McCarthy's such a two-faced piece of shit. He is one of the worst rhinos, and for some reason he sucked up to Trump, and that's why Trump liked him.
I don't know if he still does, but
I don't know. Let's see what else is in this. 15% increase on all corporations that make more than $1 billion. Not make more than $1 billion in profit, but just make over $1 billion in sales. Somehow, when you add 15% on corporations taxes, somehow that's not going to make their goods or services go up in price.
That's because Democrats are stupid.
I mean, are they trying to destroy the good job market to decrease the recession? Is that what they're doing?
I don't know. It's like, that's the same thing with like them saying, oh, we added this many jobs, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's still help wanted sides everywhere. and like just give a real fucking number to the unemployment. There's a bunch of lazy assholes that dropped out of the fucking job market who don't want to work because it's easier to live off the government. And that's why, like, look, I'm all about helping somebody out, but being poor should suck to the level that I don't want to live like this. So I'm going to get off my ass.
400,000 people. 400,000 people this year have dropped out of the workforce.
Yeah, they don't count them. Once they drop out, they don't count them.
No, it's people who are either unemployed and actively searching for work, or people. That's the unemployment rate.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm all about helping someone get back on their feet, but being poor should suck to the level that it's like, oh man, this sucks. I don't want to live like this. I'm going to go improve myself and not be a worthless piece of shit that's sapping off the government. Now, granted, yeah, there are people with disabilities, stuff like that, like actual true people, not like, oh yeah, I hurt my back in the big one of 82 and I just can't work anymore. It's like,
but I'm gonna dig this field out real quick.
Oh, it's like, you ever see this guy on the internet? It looks like a total clown. I guess he's supposed to be dressing up like a woman, but he looks like a fucking clown. But he's like, how dare you ask me about if I have a job? I am disabled. It's like, really? How the fuck are you disabled? There's literally a guy who has no legs that works in a fucking tire shop, crawling all over the place like a fucking monkey, grabbing tires, throwing them down. And the dude's got no fucking legs.
Probably because he's fat.
Well, no, yeah, he was fat.
Obesity is now considered a disability. It's not get off your fat ass and fucking do something.
Here's another thing.
It's, hey,
how can you be poor and fat? God bless America.
They don't even give you government cheese anymore.
I know.
I'd say the cheese,
government cheese is pretty badass. That's where Velveeta came from.
It is pretty good. I got some pretty good cheese in Minnesota.
Well, you're pretty close
Wisconsin.
To
Wisconsin. I got in Wisconsin. I got some.
So here's a little funny side note about cheese. There is cheese that is made in Texas that is shipped to Wisconsin, and it's sold as cheese packaged in Wisconsin, and you're actually buying Texas cheese.
Really?
True story. I know a guy who makes the run. He drives down here to pick up the cheese and take it back to Wisconsin to be packaged as Wisconsin packaged cheese.
What you got in that crate, boy? There's some cheese.
Counterfeit cheese.
Got some cheese sniffing dogs over here. Yeah, but so just the workforce alone. It's constantly lying. And it's been like that since.
No, they've been doing that for I think since
welfare
in the 2000s when they started manipulating the numbers, because someone's like, "Oh, this looks really bad. We need to manipulate the numbers."
Hey, it looks like we have a 10% unemployment rate. We got to make that look like a 2%.
I'm saying you're not going to improve on that. You're either gonna have these, like, okay, so like you get these starter jobs now that they're paying people $15, $20 an hour just to get workers, and then that job they're doing isn't worth that amount of money. So the stuff that you're buying, either it's going to be understaffed, so it's going to take forever, or it's going to cost more. Like when they were talking about $15 an hour for fast food places, I remember every time I go through a drive-through, they either jack up the order, it takes forever. I'm like, yep, you really deserve $15 an hour. Like, you're an idiot. You deserve like $8.
They should be getting minimum wage, which is what, $7.25 or whatever the fuck it is.
Federally,
a minimum wage. So minimum wage is supposed to be a starter wage, and an uncomplicated job. Most jobs you get minimum wage, you don't really need a high school diploma even.
Technically, the minimum wage originally, and it was probably put in by Democrats, was a union thing, and it was to prevent black people from undercutting white people for jobs.
Yeah, it sounds like a Democrat thing.
Yeah, that's how the minimum wage originally came around.
So, now that's a disturbing History lesson.
Kind of like food stamps. They came up with food stamps because they during World War II, they were sending the only kids that were like, because it was during a depression, the only kids healthy enough to go to war were rich kids. So they instituted this food stamp program to basically
Make sure
fatten up the poor kids
kids
so they could go to war.
Let me fatten out your child to get shot.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. Like rich people were bitching that only our kids are going to war.
We're going to put the big fatty out front so he's a good shield.
Yeah.
Eating that government cheese. It's all about the cheese.
I love government cheese.
It's good stuff. I don't know how it's fattening though.
It's basically Velveeta.
Yeah.
Never goes bad.
No.
As long as you don't crack the seal, because then it turns into like if you need to do it turns into like a plastic. It turns into a big chunk of plastic.
Well, it starts sweating and stuff, so I think that congeals like a plastic outer layer.
But the best mac and cheese is made.
It's got a nice candy shell. Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Velveeta. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I make my grilled cheese out with.
So good. They should be a sponsor.
So, why is this called inflation? I don't see anything in this bill. Granted, I'm not, even on the part on what I read. Let me see if I can find anything because I was reading something.
I can tell you right now, if the numbers that you were throwing out there is going to do nothing but make inflation worse.
It's supposed to lower drug prices
by paying
money to the
companies.
Yeah. So that's not really how that's going to. You're still paying for people. You're just paying through the government instead of paying through, your insurance or whatever. So basically, they're just cutting down insurance companies.
Yeah, except for I'm pretty sure close to 50%, if not more, of the country doesn't pay any federal income tax. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
The poor people. Yeah, poor people really don't.
But that's why, like I'm saying, the federal sales tax.
If you make under like 11,000, if you make under like maybe it might be more. I was around 11,000. If you make less than $11,000 a year, you pay no.
Well, yeah, but then you got people that get like kids tax credits and all that shit, and they end up getting more back than what they paid. Way more. Like shit, I've known somebody who didn't make shit for money, period, and they always somehow got $5,000 or $6,000 back at the end of the year. It's like, what? I want that money.
How come we're trying to reduce carbon emissions when we're one of the lowest in the country or in the world? Why are we not pressuring China and India to do the same thing? Why is it up to us when we have our carbon footprint in America is like, I think like 300% less than China?
Because
it might even be more than that.
The whole like I said, the whole green energy, Green New Deal, all that is a big fucking scam, and it's a weak in the United States because the two biggest polluters in the world are India and China, and they ain't going to do shit to cut back on their carbon footprint because they don't give a shit. And then we're doing it, and it just does nothing but hurt us.
Well, I mean, to give India credit, they're still using it. They're still mining asbestos and stuff.
Yeah, they're using the shit out of stuff. They're actually the number one export in Canada up to a few years ago was asbestos.
Now it's India. You see them just like I watched.
No, they were exporting it to India.
Oh, to what? Just get manufactured in India?
I saw those videos of the guys cutting open
bags
bags
like
of
shoveling that
raw
shit?
chrysotile with a bandana over their face. Do you have your face covering on, sir?
Oh, sorry. I said $700 billion deficit reduction in 10 years. It's $300 billion.
You ever notice, though, how it's always like 10 years? And like, I'm pretty sure that we've ran into the 10 years on one of these bullshit things where it's like, oh, it's got a blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter because it's like what they do is they take they extrapolate, well, if they do this and we cut back on this, then it's going to end up, saving us this. And it never happens that way. That's how they come up with those numbers.
And it's supposed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in America by 40% based on 2005 levels, which I'm guaranteeing that at least we're from 2005 we've reduced our greenhouse gases by 25 to 30% already.
Yeah, I know my badass diesel pickup truck that I don't drive much anymore because
so they didn't have DEF then, did they?
Well, no, they didn't. The DEF went in 2000 and I think it was whenever the 6.7 came out. So 2011, 2012. But like my truck now that I don't drive much anymore because it costs like $250 to $300 to fill a tank, is basically zero emissions because of all the debt. Even if you ripped off all the fucking environmental bullshit on my truck, which is 100% legal, so it would still, the emission levels are still below the requirement. All the DEF, the DPF, all the stuff that destroys very expensive diesel motors is because of the Paris Climate Accords. That's where that came from. We don't need that. Over in Europe, their diesel engines are dirty. Like even with the DEF and the DPF filters and all that stuff, they still couldn't pass our emission requirements over here. And then back in the day, I had a 6.0 and I was just, rolling coal. That's all. I always thought that was stupid. Like the trick to diesel, if you're trying to get power out of it, is get your max amount of power before you start blowing coal. Because if you're blowing black smoke, that's unburnt diesel, which doesn't go up in the atmosphere. It actually settles out in the ground, which isn't necessarily good either, but it's not technically an air pollutant. That's unburnt diesel. So it's like, yeah, they're blowing coal and wasting money because it's unburnt diesel. It's all bullshit.
I mean, if you want to go for a 4-hour podcast, I could read this full 755 page. It's going to take longer than 4 hours. I could skip a bunch. What I think is important now. We can just going to have to cut it. You're going to do a lot of editing. 755 pages.
Of bullshit. It does nothing to stave off inflation.
Reduce the inflation.
See, and this comes up to what I brought up to you and I've been thinking about. There is no consequences for bad leadership.
And what do you think? If this reduces inflation, or if inflation reduces within 2 months of this bill, like if it reduces by 1 or 2%, which would still be like 6% inflation or 7% inflation, if it reduces by 1 or 2%, they'll say it's because of this fucking bill.
Okay, if inflation reduces by 1 or 2%, it's because they manipulated the numbers and lied. There's no way in hell that printing a shit ton more money is going to fucking fix inflation. The whole reason we're in inflation is because we printed a bunch of bullshit money that we don't have.
Dude, they already manipulate the numbers. They don't count gas and food.
Yeah, they do. Inflation is probably like 30%.
They don't include gas and food in inflation numbers. So, yes, it's probably closer. If they included gas alone, we have 200% inflation rate right now.
Probably, yeah. Well, we can't add those up.
It was $1.98 It was $1.98 in December of fucking 2020.
It's like, so what actually do you base inflation on? Pez dispensers?
Yeah. No, because that's food. Dummy. No, just the dispenser alone, yes.
Not Pez, the dispenser.
The dispenser. And I think like clothes, and if people are buying like frivolous shit like TVs and stuff, that's
why actually
and how much TV costs. Housing cost, I think, is included.
Yeah, that's you know the reason why they do that is because they use the inflated prices. Like I literally just bought my house less than a year ago, and my property taxes went up above what I paid for my fucking house. They're like, oh, well, the market. I'm like, nah, it's bullshit. You can't fucking take market value to base your property tax on. It's like, for one, the market value of my house is what I just fucking paid for it. That's the market value.
I mean, that's exactly how they do it. That's how they adjust property taxes. It's, and I mean, I could have totally ruined my house on the inside. And they'd have no idea. My house would be worth 100% less. So it's not. But I mean,
you never let the tax
actually made
man
a proof-
inside your house. Never.
no. He's going to see all the money I stored in my walls. So
Well, it's like if you bought a house,
just pennies pouring out of my vents.
well, when you buy a house, they come and appraise it, and then that's it. You never let that person back in your house again. Because let's say I don't have a basement, but like if you had a basement that was just open and then you finished it, well, as long as you don't let that tax man in your house, they never know about it. But if they come in, you let them in and they say, oh, you finished out your basement. You just added 2,000 square feet to your house.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that. I mean, my basement's already finished, but it was a trashy basement. I just made it
It's
good.
still trashy. I've seen it.
It's a nice basement.
I'm helping you out with the tax man.
Oh yeah, hey, tax
Pure
man.
garbage.
It's not. I pissed on it a lot.
I don't know what that means. Hey, I pissed on this wall. You going to give me a discount on my taxes? There was like a month where I just didn't know what a toilet was. I don't know what the hell happened, but this wall has been completely saturated with my urine.
Hey, don't touch that. It's my piss wall.
It's a little soft.
So yes, it could work. I mean, if you had a piss wall in your house, there's no way your house is going to be worth more.
Sir, your entire house reeks of urine.
Yes, because of my piss wall. I ain't wasting money on that water. You know how much my water bill was? Jiminy crickets. I ain't flushing my toilets that much.
Have you ever calculated the amount of water you flush down the drain? It's just bullshit.
If I do a piss wall and just replace the wall every 3 months, it's cheaper.
Yeah, my house reeks of ammonia.
That's a PSA, people. No.
Yeah. Toilets are for pussies. Piss walls.
See, it's called that's how you micromanage your finances. You gotta see what the cost is over time, and what might make more money that way, or you might save a little bit of money by having a piss wall.
There you go. That is a PSA. The more you know.
So, but no, property taxes, I get it. If you do improvements, you don't want the tax man to see, but like what was that story where the guy was like every like couple weeks or once a month he'd just fire off like 5 or 6 rounds with his fucking gun.
Yeah, he fire off
Keep
random
property
shots in
taxes
the
up.
air to keep the property taxes low.
See,
That's a
good
bad
neighbor.
neighborhood.
That's a good neighbor.
It's like, oh man, I wish I had that neighbor. Actually, I think my neighbor with the golf ball house about 2 houses down kind of helps keep mine low.
What's a golf ball house?
It's a giant golf ball.
One of those big white circle houses?
Yes. And he has a garden shed that matches the house.
This guy
Drives
wrong with
a diesel pickup. I
so
don't
he's
know.
not doing it for.
The thing that sucks is the guy who lives there.
I love golf.
The guy who lives there is the guy who built it, so it's never been sold. So there's like no pictures of the inside. I just want to go over and be like, "Hey, buddy, I just would like to come in and see the inside of your golf ball house. Is this like, where's the shitter?" Yeah.
What can you? He's got a piss wall.
He probably does.
And it's just round, so it just kind of.
Is it a wall or
maybe
a ball? He's got a piss ball.
Piss ball. That's what you can do. So I don't. It can't be more than a couple bedrooms, right?
I don't know. I know nothing about the
Is
house.
Is it a big golf ball?
It's a big golf ball.
Huh. Ain't that neat?
You need to Google Earth my house and then go 3 houses down. And you'll see
Okay,
golf
I
ball.
will. So is let's get back on topic a little bit here. Is this bill just out of corruption?
Yes.
I mean, is this just purely corruption? How are we spending money? How do we spend so much money outside of the federal budget? Why the fuck do we even have a budget if we just spend more money outside the budget?
I don't know. That's
What's the fucking point?
Like, if we had people that actually gave a shit, and it's not just Democrats, it's everybody in Washington. Like, they keep. I mean, okay. So in this bill or the last bill or whatever, wherever they hired a bunch of, or they're going to try to hire 85,000 more assholes to go after people for taxes. It's like, you jackasses.
No, they are
yeah, but you got to find 85,000 assholes to fill. And if you work for the IRS, you're an asshole. But
don't work for the IRS, people.
But like, to make sure everyone's paying their bills while these assholes are spending money that they don't have. Like, just think about if you, now granted, a lot of Americans do kind of live their lives like the government does, where they're
that's what credit cards are,
huge
basically.
amounts of debt, but like, they're literally spending trillions of dollars that we don't have. Like, I remember when they said if we breached $25 trillion in debt, we were fucked. And I think we're over 30
kind of are
now.
fucked. Yeah.
Well, okay, so
we are fucked.
China and Russia are working together to remove the U.S. dollar as international currency. If that happens, we are totally fucked.
Yeah, I think the only thing really floating us right now is the fact the whole world uses the U.S. dollar.
That is the only thing. And the fact that
China,
if, like, somebody
let's be
pulled
real,
their
though,
debt,
China,
we could be like, fuck off.
I don't think China and Russia will ever be able to get it done because, you know, their economies are basically even worse than ours. I mean, they're running on basically the same thing we are.
Russia's economy
without
is
the
not
world's
too bad right now, mister. China's
Not-
is shit.
Not as bad as it was.
No, I mean,
but
I know the ruple's doing pretty damn good. Or whatever.
It's doing better than it was. I mean, it's doing the best it has in like 10 years, but still not great. You know, it hasn't been great in ever. Since like World War II or whatever, since Cold War.
But yeah, their economy's weak too.
been-
Like, that's why. And
So there's no way. What are they going to use? The euro's trash right now. The euro's even below the fucking dollar.
no,
right
everything's trash right now because of COVID. Except for the
And
only people's currency that's really like gaining value is the Russian ruble. or
Russians.
whatever it is. Because
So the
of
one that
Biden's proxy war with Russia.
now. Yeah, basically he's doing what, you know, was done with the Cold War. Is the strongest Russia ever, you know, was up until they fell. Obviously, was in that mid Cold War era.
That's
when-
because Reagan tricked him into going to a democracy. Hi, man, switch over to capitalism overnight. See how that works.
Yeah, There you go, Reagan. Reagan was awesome. Reagan was awesome.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
But but yeah, like China's economy is not good. I mean, everyone's economy is bad, but I mean, it's just like we're not doing anything to help ourselves. Like, they're actively, and that's why I said there is no consequences for bad leadership. It's like, oh, well, he didn't get reelected. I was like, well, I think there should be some consequences if you come in and pass some stupid ass bill, or you're a piece of shit, you know, puppet of a president who's the far less wet dream who will just do whatever, and you totally jack up the country. There should be some consequences for that other than just being elected out. I mean, that's just me. Like, you got Nancy Pelosi going over to Taiwan, potentially, you know, starting World War III. And like, what in the hell? Nancy Pelosi is not a leader. She might be a leader in the House. She is not a leader of the country. She represents a bunch of stupid assholes from San Francisco. That's it. Period. There is no reason for any congressman or any senator to ever go to any other freaking country on this planet. Period.
Why wouldn't Biden go? Why wouldn't Biden
That's
go?
just it. They're not leaders. Like freaking Lindsey Graham, that piece of shit that went over to Ukraine.
Mitch McConnell went to fucking
Ukraine. You're not leaders. You do not represent the whole country. You represent the assholes that voted for you. Period. Nancy Pelosi, you're freaking stupid. The people who voted for you are stupid. You do not represent the United States. The United States.
Hey, Taiwan.
What?
Hey, Asian countries. You like shit in your streets? Come on over to San Francisco. I'll show you how I run my districts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they go over. She goes over there, and she went over there for the superconductor or the chips or whatever that her husband bought into. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And this dumb ass is going to end up, they're like, China's firing stuff over there. Of course, the reason why China considers Taiwan part of China is because that was the major hub for Japan during World War II when Japan was kicking the shit out of China. So China will not allow anyone to gain a military foothold in Taiwan. That's the whole reason why China doesn't recognize Taiwan as its own country and doesn't want anybody having any relations with them. Because if the United States actually makes Taiwan a straight up ally, and then we started like putting military bases there, that puts China at a military disadvantage. And that's the whole reason why they're doing that. And like, whatever, fuck China. But like Nancy Pelosi's going over there, she's an idiot, and she's caught stirring up all this shit to get us into what? You know what? This is a soapbox moment. Nancy Pelosi's a dumbass. Soapbox.
Soapbox. Yes, I can agree that 100% that Nancy Pelosi is a dumbass, and it was dumb. I'm just saying that the Chinese were, whatever. The Chinese are, I don't know. They talk big.
They are big. They have supersonic intercontinental missiles that supposedly we can't shut down, even though I think we do have the Star Wars. Thanks, Ronald Reagan. Space lasers.
I think we do too, but we absolutely have Star Wars.
Space lasers.
Who doesn't want space lasers? But yes, we have Star Wars. They're not going to tell everybody in the world what we have, And I don't want to know all the shit the military has.
I think we have Cobra has.
Like Cobra and G.I. Joe?
Yes.
What'd they have?
In that movie, in the actual live action movie where they drop like a tungsten rod from space.
Oh, I guarantee we have that.
Yeah, just drop it and just.
Yeah, because the velocity of the rod when it hits the fucking city destroys the city without having nuclear fallout.
Thanks.
It absolutely.
Thanks, Cobra.
Cobra.
That was another franchise that could have made an awesome freaking movie, and they just destroyed
Man, they ruined that movie. God,
when you killed Duke off in the second fucking movie, it's like, what the fuck? Duke never died in the cartoon. I've seen all of them.
Yeah. Well, he didn't want to be in the movies, so he made him kill him off.
Seriously?
Because he's like, that first movie was garbage. I can't believe you guys are making a second one, but he was contractually obligated to be in it.
That guy's awesome.
He didn't have to be in through the. Yeah.
Channing Tatum or whatever. That guy is great.
Yeah.
I don't know what his politics are, and I don't want to know him because right now, that guy makes me laugh. He's freaking hilarious.
He is funny.
You will see him in the movie Bullet Train, and his appearance, his cameo in that movie is hilarious.
Did you watch This Is the End?
Yes.
The Seth Rogen one and stuff.
He's the gimp.
He's like a gimp.
That guy is great. Let's just put it this way. He's not a gimp in the Bullet Train, but it's a similar character. He's not a gimp.
Exactly.
But
so
he's just Channing Tatum's just great. Please keep your politics to yourself if you're an idiot. I would rather not know.
Yeah. Chris Evans was all right until I found out he was a fucking hypocrite.
Communist?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing, right?
Pretty much. But yeah, it's what, I don't know. You see all this stuff that's getting passed in Washington, and it's all like they're ruining the fucking country, and there's no repercussions whatsoever. It's like, whoops, my bad. And it's bullshit.
What? I mean, what do you do? I mean, vote, but
I don't know. Like
I don't know.
And I don't know. Is there some law where you can't sue the federal government or these representative, like every representative that passed a bill that destroys them? Like, all right, well, there's a whole bunch of people that sue for the dumbest shit. It's like, all right, well, because of the stupid shit you did, I have to decide whether I'm going to buy food or put gas in my car. So I'm suing you. That's what we should be able to do. We should be able to sue these stupid assholes that pass all this stupid shit that screw us over, and then they somehow walk away rich. It's like, all right, well, I'm getting some of that money.
I wonder if we do a class action suit like the U.S. first.
The U.S. government, Congress. I think we should. Like, there has to be some kind of repercussions for all the stupid shit they're doing, because it's not like it's all ideology. There's no way any of this shit's going to work. All green energy is bullshit. Like, yeah, if you own a factory and you buy one or two windmills to power your specific factory, that might work. There's no way in hell that we're ever going to switch the U.S. economy over to solar panels and windmills. Never going to happen, period. Unless you put us back in the Stone Age.
It can't happen. So this has to be some kind of corruption. I mean, it has to be. It has to be a lobbyist fucking, campaign funds for these windmill companies or these solar companies or,
Wasn't there some big thing with Obama and some solar panel company with $300 million or $600 million?
And half of these fucking, like these solar things, these solar panels, like I think 80% of it is made in China.
Yeah. Well, they want to make more use of solar panels and windmills in the United States.
But they won't do it themselves. Do you notice, like, these green things that are being mostly produced in China, they're not using these things. If they can make everything, why are they not using it? Ask yourself that before you become a fucking green hippie and, get your fucking Birkenstocks and your fucking tie-dye shirt on and you want to be Mr. Windmill. All right, ask yourself why freaking China isn't. They got a lot of open land. They can do all kinds of, windmills and shit. They don't. They go with coal and cheap fucking energy.
And I'd be fine with, like, you want to get rid of coal. I mean, granted, it's going to be screw over some coal miners, but go nuclear.
Well, they can learn a different trade. That's what I heard.
Yeah, you're a coal miner. You can learn how to be a programmer.
Our representatives are idiots.
Yeah, I mean,
the people.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, they're a bunch of con artists, and they don't understand. And same thing with all these assholes that leech out the government. There's pride, and we've brought it up before, in doing that. Like, there's generations of coal miners, there's generations of welders and builders, and there's pride that comes from that. And that's the biggest problem with what's going on in the United States now, is like, there's a bunch of people that think they're better than everybody and they're total trash, but there's no pride in it. Like, it used to be like, if you went on unemployment, you were embarrassed to go to the unemployment office and file for unemployment. Now it's just like, yep, I'm going to try to stay on this shit as long as I can, because there's no freaking pride.
What if we did, like, Congress, like we do a jury pool? Like, every so often, your number gets called, and you just got to serve for, like, 6 months or a year.
If you wanted a true representative government, that might be a way to do it,
Also, you get mail, you're like, fuck, I got to go to Congress, Well,
that's why
you get paid like a certain amount, like, let's say not $200,000 or $500,000, whatever the fuck they make. You get paid, like, let's say it's a benefit, so you get $100,000 or whatever. And if you make more than that, then, well, you're fucked. You might be able to you have to keep your job, like juries. So you always keep your job, but you have to serve your country, and
that would make too much sense. That'll never happen. That's why they need to make
like every year or every 2 years. I think 2 years would have to be a thing.
Well, and that's why I've harp on it all the time, but then
I would even say like you have free flights to Washington D.C., but you have to go there to vote, and then you gotta get flown right the fuck.
Well, yeah, other than that, like there is no. I guess, and maybe if you're part of a committee, but people spend way too much time in Washington. Doesn't matter if you're a senator or Republican, and I've harped on in many episodes that they need to pass a constitutional amendment that takes the vote for senators away from the U.S. public, and it goes back to the states appointing them. That was fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, so we make an amendment to abolish that like we did fucking whatever.
Yeah, they should be appointed. That way, if you get some stupid
The
asshole,
one with the alcohol one, prohibition.
yeah, and then that way, if you get some stupid asshole as a senator, you can just replace him right away.
Yeah, exactly. If he's not representing what your state wants to represent, then yes.
And technically, you're still voting for them by voting for your state congressman and senator.
Yes. All right. Well, this is getting on a little long, so.
Yeah, this one did not take long to rack up the time.
No.
Turns out, bitching about the government is one of our favorite things to talk about.
We might do this some more. We'll do it every episode, basically. So, let's end this one. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this was The Lost Art of Common Sense.
I'll see you next week, everybody.
Common Sense! Common Sense!